We good? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm back on. Oh, oops. All right, we're going to get started here. My apologies for a few minutes late. We had a few people over at the hotel instead, so we're getting that straightened out here. But I want to welcome you to the first ever YOTA Junior USA camp, and this is a bit of an experiment. You all are the guinea pigs. If you, I was a pre-med person, and if you decide that you want to go to medical school, you should know that medical students are usually test subjects. Yeah, so yeah, you all are the test subjects. We have done camps for 5 years, but they're for 15 to 25-year-olds. And when I very first took over as the camp director for YOTA, the very first question was, what about the ones that are not 15 yet? And that was kind of a personal thing for me because I was a young ham. I was younger than most young hams. We'll talk more about that later, but it was like, they can do ham radio too. Why don't we have something for that? And so it was my goal to initiate that. And we've been trying to make this work, and this year we said, okay, we have to do this. So we're kind of experimenting. We're going to work out the bugs this weekend, and then I'm going to write all this stuff up. And the goal is to kind of make this a camp in a box kind of thing, where a local ham radio club can just order a box of shirts and stickers and all the materials from us and host these camps around the United States, so that we don't have the travel issues that we have with the bigger camp, when we have people traveling all around the world to come to those region-wide camps. So we're trying to make this camp a little more localized. And so everyone here is from the Southeast, Midwest, or the East Coast. So we're kind of focused on that, but we'll probably try to do something out in the West Coast too to bring them in. But more about that later. My name is Neil Rapp. My call sign is WB9VPG. I am the camp director, one of the co-founders of YOTA in the Americas. I'll tell you more about YOTA a little later on. But YOTA is not really a club. It's not like you're a member of YOTA. It's a movement. And everyone is welcome to participate in YOTA-sponsored events. There's not a membership requirement. You don't have a membership number or anything like that. But our mission is to connect young amateurs. And one of the things that you'll hear me talk about a lot is, in talking with young hams, they often feel like I did when I was a young ham, and that was isolated. You're the one young person in your club, or you're the one young person in your area. And so what we want to do this weekend is physically, not just on the radio, but physically bring you all together so that you can get to know each other better, so that you have people to talk to about different things in amateur radio that you want to learn about from each other. And so you will not hear me talking a lot after a couple hours today. All of our youth will be talking about what to do for the most part. We do that at our other camps too. We have youth presenting, and we have a lot of hands-on stuff. We don't do presentations for the most part. We throw in one or two, but that's about it. So we will have a lot of activities going on for you this weekend. It's kind of a miniature version of what we do in the week-long camps. But we have other activities as well. The youth working group, those people wearing these blue polos are members of the youth working group, and they're the people who spend all year long working on planning camps like this. So we'll talk more about that a little bit later, but first I want to get some official welcomes in here, and I already hit the wrong button, so let me fix that. And get the right slideshow up here. Okay. Wi-Fi access, there's no password required, so if you need on the Wi-Fi, if you didn't see that up here earlier, that's how you get to that. We also want you to share your photos and videos. We have a couple of semi-professional photographers back here. We've got 3 or 4 people in the PR team that are getting into photography as well as amateur radio. And so, oops, wrong way. So they will be taking photos, but we would also like yours. And, your trip here and your trip home. So we do have a Google Photos album set up. If you scan the QR code there, that will take you to it. There was also a link in the handbook about that. And our official hashtag is YOTAR2. So if you post on social media, please add that so we can see your photos. Also in the Google Drive, there's a link to the Google Photos album. So obviously, anytime we're doing activities, take photos, but also right back here in the back, we have our red carpet with the photo backdrop here, so make sure you get an official photo. We also have our mascot YOTAR over here, the YOTA R2 for Region 2, so he's named YOTAR. So you can stick your head in YOTAR and get a picture. And you all are the first to see the unveiled special YOTAR for 2026, because 2026, the region-wide camp in Huntsville, Alabama, will be a special edition. It will be a space-themed YOTA camp. And so we have Space YOTA over here. So you can get your picture with Space YOTA as well. So feel free anytime this weekend to go back and get some photos with your friends that you make this weekend, and some to take home. Also, we have snacks and drinks over here on the side, so help yourselves to those whenever you like. And also, we are live streaming this opening ceremony. So if I could get Jay to step aside for a moment. There's a camera right back there in the very back, so I want you to turn around and wave to the camera, wave to everybody at home watching and everybody else watching. We are live streaming just the opening ceremony, and we will be posting some highlight videos. Brian is back here in the back, WB9QVR, and I'll tell you a little story about him in a little bit, but well, yeah, I don't know, maybe not. Oh, and I didn't turn that on, sorry, Brian. But he's doing our video work, and he always makes these great highlight videos. So you'll see those online this weekend as well. And so people back home can see all the fun you're having. Wanted to do a couple of introductions. First of all, Jay Adrick, K8CHJ, is here, the executive director of the National Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting. Jack Dominic is on vacation this week, and so he sends his greetings to you. But I let Jay know that we had some time for him to come and speak to you. He is the president of the board of this museum, and he has quite the resume in broadcast engineering. And he's going to share a little bit of that with you today. But let me introduce Jay Adrick, K8CJY. Thank you.
Well, welcome to the National Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting. This is a place that has a lot of, okay, there we go, a lot of hallowed ground. I'll tell you a little bit more about that, but the facility was authorized in 1942 at the beginning of World War II, was built during 1943 and 44, and by September 23rd of 1944 was on the air with a total of 6 200 kilowatt shortwave transmitters broadcasting the United States message of freedom around the world, particularly to people who were living in countries that were being occupied. And during the Cold War, the facility became very, very important to getting messages out to the people behind the Iron Curtain. Many of those people have come here in later days as visitors to our museum. The facility was in operation until 1994, when it was decommissioned, and the museum came together in the early 2000s. I joined the board in 2012, and we have made great progress in turning this into a world-class museum, which I understand you're going to tour sometime on Sunday. Is that right? So let me talk a little bit about amateur radio and tell you some things from my life, but also some things that I came across in my ham career. I got my license when I was 13 years old, so I would fit right in, but there were no groups like this at the time. Ham radio, for me and for many of the people that got their ham licenses in my era and beyond, ham radio became a gateway. Now, I know many of you think of it as a great hobby, and it is a great hobby. But when you start out young, like you are, it can become a gateway to your career and a gateway to friendships that will last a lifetime. I still keep in touch via ham radio with kids who were of my era who have continued their ham radio experience over their lifetime. We have a regular gathering on Wednesday night on 80 meters where a group of us get together. So think about what you may be doing when you graduate from high school, when you graduate from college, if you elect to go that way, or a tech school. Ham radio can open a lot of doors. I'm gonna cite my own life, okay? I love to build things. And if I can keep my iPad from going to sleep, this is me when I was 15 years old. Okay, I'm sitting in my ham shack with a 1,000 watt homemade transmitter on 6 meters. And that very picture helped me get my first job when I graduated from high school at the age of 17. I got my ham license when I was 13. And at the time, if you wanted to work in electronic communications, you had to have an FCC first class license. That was the highest grade license for commercial activity. Well, how did I decide that I wanted to go into broadcasting? Well, I happen to have an Elmer. An Elmer is a ham radio term for a mentor, right? The mentor was one of the guys who helped build this place in 1943 and 44, who was an engineer here. And in 1961, he said, would you like to go see the Voice of America at Bethany? And I went home and talked to my parents, and my dad, being an engineer, said, well, absolutely, you need to do that. So I came up here and I got to see this place in operation. And the people in broadcasting kind of referred to this as the cathedral of radio, because you could go up into what's now our conference room and look over the balcony, because the control room that you're going to see in the center of the hall was not there. And there were 6 Crosley transmitters built by Crosley engineers, Crosley Broadcasting, a local company that ran the radio station down the street with the big tall tower, and University of Cincinnati engineering co-op students. And they built these 6 transmitters over a period of about a year and a half and got them on the air to start the Voice of America. So my mentor, my Elmer, Keith, brought me up here, and I saw this place, 13 years old, and I said, that's what I want to do. I want to work in that field. So I studied and got my license while I was in high school, not my ham license, but my commercial license. And a month after graduation, I was going to go off to the University of Cincinnati to study engineering. My other neighbor, who worked at a small AM station, said, we're going to build an FM station, and we don't have the talent to do that. Would you be interested? It's only a short-term job, 6 weeks. And he said, come on down and I'll introduce you to the station manager. Well, I took that picture of my ham station down because the first question was, you're only 17 years old. How do you know how to do that? And I held up the picture and I said, see that transmitter? I designed and built that. And I got the job. And that summer I put a 70,000 watt FM station on the air here in Cincinnati. And what started out to be a 6-week job ended up working for the station for 3.5 years. Didn't like the University of Cincinnati. I was telling Neil, I was in a chemistry class with 1,500 lecture hall, 1,500 students. I came from a very small high school. Went across town to Xavier University, a Jesuit-run university, smaller university. Ended up getting very involved there. They were starting a program in radio and television and found out, gee, this guy works in commercial radio. He's putting himself through school that way because my dad passed away and I had to earn my own money to pay my tuition. And I ended up becoming their director of radio and television and put their FM station on the air, WVXU 91.7 here in Cincinnati. Had to do 2 years in the Navy in electronics. Came back, joined the faculty at the university, spent 8 years there. again, through some ham radio connections, decided, gee, instead of teaching, I really love building things and designing things. So I went off with 4 other guys and started a company to build broadcast facilities. And we were entrepreneurs for 13 years. We sold the company 13 years later to a Fortune 500. I stayed another 23 years with them. I was their vice president of broadcast systems, their vice president of advanced engineering, and ended up for 10 years in Washington, D.C. on a commuting basis as the vice chairman of the Advanced Television Systems Committee, which I'm sure you must watch digital television. You must watch over-the-air television at your home. That signal gets to your home over the standard that we developed at ATSC. I retired when I was 67 the first time. 6 months later, I was back as a consultant. Did that for another 4.5 years and got hired by the Federal Communications Commission for what was supposed to be 39 months to help move 2,000 TV stations to new channel assignments that actually took 73 months. And I retired the final time when I was 76 years old, 2 years ago. Okay, got involved with the museum in 2012, became president 2.5 years ago. And I also teach video at our local high school, and also am the tech director for the Performing Arts Center at the local high school. So many of my connections in business came because I carried a business card around with my ham call on it. And it was a door opener, okay? It's a bridge. It's a bridge to friendship. I remember as a young kid at 15 years old, one of my best friends was a guy who was like 55 years old. He was the president of Western and Southern Life Insurance Company here in town. But the thing we shared in common was a love for ham radio. So again, think about this as a gateway to your future. Think about it as a gateway to a lot of friendship that will last for a lifetime. There aren't many places that I can go around the world and not run into or have a friend that I've made over amateur radio. Okay, so that's the end of my lecture. I want to thank you very much for coming here to see our place. And I know you're going to have a great time. I was hoping I could spend pretty much the entire weekend with you, but I'm off to a grandson in the outskirts of Philadelphia who's running a STEM camp. And we got a little text message the other day. My wife got the text message, "Dear Nana, I'm out of cookies and I'm off on Sunday. Would you come bring some cookies?" So that's where I'm off to. Slide past you here. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
For the hand that off. I think you got it. Well, thank you, Jay, for stepping in, for Jack, and for being here and letting our young people know about future careers in ham radio. Thanks, Jay. Mark, KEHCIE, you will see around. He practically lives here. I joke that he's always here. But he's occupied at the moment. So we will let him say hello around dinner time. But he is the president of the Westchester Amateur Radio Association, and they have the shack that you'll be using. So we'll give him a chance to say a few words here in a little bit. So welcome. Okay, now I will hit the button that I hit a while ago and get the right one. So mention that YOTA is not a membership organization. It's just a group of young people that share amateur radio with other young people. And so that's really what we are doing. It's not all about ham radio this weekend. We have, a trip to Dave & Buster's tomorrow night, and we'll probably, have some time in the pool at the hotel and playing cards and games and stuff. My wife over here, Julie, is the game master. We have an entire bag full of games. So anytime there's downtime and the shack is full and you need something to do, we have games for you. And then we'll be taking that to the hotel each evening as well. So those will be available if the shack is completely occupied. So you have something to do if you need something to do. But the YOTA idea started back in 2011, and it was just a bunch of college kids basically getting together and camping out and playing radio. And it developed into part of an intercultural program that kind of had this ham radio segment to it to promote exchange of cultures between countries in Europe. And eventually the IARU Region 1 organization kind of adopted it and made it a full-time ham radio camp and took it over. So they have been pushing us since 2011 when they did theirs to get it going here. And there were several attempts to get it started that didn't work. And I joined up in 2019 and started a different kind of initiative to get it started, and here we are. So you'll probably hear youngsters on the air, youth on the air. It's the same program. It's just that in Europe, youngster is kind of the common term. It's a favorable term. It has a good connotation to it. So it has a good meaning to it. Where youth is usually associated in Europe as a troubled youth, someone who has some issues that they need to work through. And so they prefer youngster, but over here it's kind of the other way around. Youngster sounds like a very ancient, archaic term, and so one of the recommendations in the report that was made when a couple of guys, Sterling Mann, N0SSC, and Sam Rose, KC2LRC, went over to Austria in 2016 to kind of get a feel for everything and steal everything and bring it over here to the Americas. They proposed that we really need to change the name to youth over here. So it's the same thing. It's still YOTA, either way. But a lot of people ask, well, why do I hear, some people saying youngster? Well, that's what they call it in Region 1. YOTA is a very different model than most people think of in ham radio. Usually in ham radio, when you get a bunch of people together, you have a whole bunch of talks and presentations about this and that, and you get these people who really know everything about it, and you bring in these experts, and I've had world-class experts in a variety of different things say, hey, I want to come to YOTA, I want to come speak about this, I want to do a presentation about that. And it's kind of weird. I have to tell them, well, yeah, I know you're probably one of the most leading experts in this field in the world, but no, because that's not what YOTA is about. YOTA is about youth-led activities, and not youth-centered activities, but youth-led activities. So again, you're going to hear me talk a little bit this first hour or so, but you're not going to hear me talk much the rest of the time. It's going to be those people back there at that back table that are going to be pretty much running everything, and they make a lot of the decisions for these camps, and so they're going to be your mentors. Feel free to ask me. I would love to help you any way that I can, but I know that you're more likely to ask questions from people that are closer to your age, and so that's why we do that. So it's very different. We have a goal that we have exceeded every year. We've done these 50% or more of the sessions led by someone in their 30s or younger. We usually push that to about 80 or 90%. So the same is going to be true this weekend because this is a miniature version of the bigger camps. We want to build a strong community of young hams so that, you know, if you're interested in Morse code, okay, well, we've got a fabulous Morse code operator over here. You can talk to her, and you know you can figure that out. If you want to get into Mesh-tastic, because it's Mesh-tastic, we've got people back here that know Mesh-tastic. So we try to give you those relationships so that down the road, and you say, hey, I think I want to get into this. You have some friends that are into that, and you know who to talk to, okay? So, that's what we're trying to do. And we do try to do some of the bigger things, not so much this weekend, but at the region-wide camps, we try to do some big things that normally you're not going to be able to do at home. Because we're going to have people traveling all around the world, we're not just going to play radio all day long. We're going to play radio, but not all day long. We're going to do some pretty big things like launch a balloon to near space and, go activate a summit on the air or, something big. So make sure that you check our website often. We have a lot of news and activities that are available. We try to promote everything for youth. So if there's a youth category in a contest, we've got it listed. If there's a scholarship that's available, we've got it. Youthontheair.org. And then our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Make sure you keep an eye on those. We really also want you to spread the word. We want you to let other young hams know that we're here for them and encourage them to come. This is a picture of an envelope that I sent to Cuba a few years ago, and it came back while I was out in Denver just 4 or 5 weeks ago. And if you look at the postmark, it's August 14th, 2023 when I mailed that. But it's stickers and brochures about YOTA that we sent to every single country in the Americas. And it took me 3 attempts to mail this thing because they turned off the mail service to Cuba for a while, and then it came back. And so when I sent it, it got there, and now they don't have that post office box anymore, so it got returned, but almost 2 years later. So it's not easy to get the word out on this, so we would like your help in getting that. And our PR team back here, Katie is the manager of that, Taylor's the assistant manager, and Jack's our webmaster and the specialist in PR. They will be asking you to send them some photos and maybe do some interviews and things to promote this. So we would like your help in promoting this. We do have several YOTA activities on the air as well. So in December, there's YOTA month, and we want you to sign up for YOTA month. We have 4 special event call signs. Normally, the call signs end in YOTA, but that's illegal in the U.S., so we have 4 call signs. One ends in Y, one ends in O, one ends in T, and one ends in A. So we have K8Y, K8O, K8T, and K8A. And what you do is you sign up for a day during the month of December, and you operate this special event. And there's an award program for people who work those. So we want you to get involved in December YOTA month. We have our camps, and then we also have a 3-part contest that the Region 1 folks put on. The second round was just a few days ago, but the third round is during December YOTA month. It's December 29th. So in that contest, everybody can operate it, but the YOTA stations provide a bonus. So that's even for the adults. You can operate YOTA month, or not YOTA month, YOTA contest. But the YOTA stations that are operated by operators under the age of 26, will give you bonuses, okay? The December YOTA month is only for operators under 26. So we'll talk about that. I do want to briefly talk about sponsorship. In order for you to be here this weekend, the estimated cost right now is $1,636. And the cost to you was $100, and $100 for your parent. We can't do this without sponsorship. And so for our region-wide camps, we have tons and tons of sponsors. This one, since it was a smaller camp and kind of our first time to figure out all this stuff, we have one sponsor, and that's Toyota. To YOTA. No, it's not Toyota. It's ARDC, Amateur Radio Digital Communications. They have funded the entire bill for camp. I would also mention that ICOM provides our equipment for the summer camp, and they sponsor our website. So they are with us all year long. So, click on that ICOM banner on our website and check out their gear. Ham Radio Prep, they have a 15% discount. If you use the code YOTA15, you can get a 15% discount on the software to upgrade, and we have that available free for young people. So for YOTA campers, if you've gone to a YOTA camp or you're attending a YOTA camp, we have free access to Ham Radio Prep. So if you want to upgrade, email me. We can provide you with access to that. But the adults, you can sign up and get a 15% discount using YOTA15, and then we get a donation from them. Also, R&L Electronics, special thanks to them. They're just down the road here. State Road 129, which I used to call the R&L Expressway, is a straight shot from the hotel straight over to the store. It's just what, 10 minutes maybe? But they open their doors and say, hey, whatever you need, come get it. And so we want to thank them for that. I don't call it the R&L Expressway anymore because here recently the president of operations for 40 years, Roger Smallwood, N8EKG, passed away, became a silent key. So I now call it the Smallwood Memorial Expressway. But yeah, it's just a straight shot over 129 and 2 lefts and you're there. So if you get a chance, stop by. Also, we have a lot of other people besides our people in the polos and the shirts and the blue shirts back there that are helping out. Mentioned Brian back there on video. Xavier, he'll be here tomorrow. He actually goes to church with us, and met him right when he got his license. And so he's a student at University of Cincinnati. And so he'll be here tomorrow. Also, Bob Fry and Dick Arnett will be here tomorrow. They are world-class fox hunters. And they will be showing you how to do the fox hunt and set up the fox hunt outside. Four State QRP Group helps us with our kits. And specifically Joe and David. So thanks to them for the help. And then, of course, our camp planning working group. So working group members, if you would stand, please. So if you run into any issues, these are your people to seek out. These people work all year long. We meet every single month to work on these projects and try to make those decisions. So thank you all for being here. And we have more that are not here with us this weekend, but thanks to them. So thank you. One of the things also that you'll notice with YOTA is we have a pretty large youth staff. So we try to put youth in charge of just about everything we can. So the YOTA month is run by Blake and Ryan Pearson, KN4VKY, KN4VKW, and Case is kind of transitioning out of that, but he's still helping out the W0AAE. Liam, KC3UII, is our QSL manager, and Emiliano, LW6EGE, is our Latin American PR specialist, so he helps us promote things in South America. So a little bit about you. This number changed suddenly yesterday. It was 11 campers, and now it's 12. So we found that we have a newly licensed ham right here in Mason, and so we added him in. So thanks for doing that. But we have 12 campers here. They're the states that everybody's from. So the ages range from 8 to 14 with the average age of 12. And so that's a little bit about you all. So you may wonder, why in the world does this guy do all this stuff? He's not getting paid anything, but he's organizing all this stuff and stores all this stuff, and the table bit in the back will tell you that I'm really good at telling them what to do. Why does this guy do all this? Well, I was 5 years old when I got my license, got my novice license, had to pass the code test and everything. And one of the things that I remember when I was 5 years old and getting into ham radio is what probably is your story. You were the only one. In fact, the class that I took with my dad had an age limit of 13 years old. If you weren't 13 years old, you couldn't take the class. So there was a girl there that was 12, and they said, yeah, okay, I think she's close enough. We'll let it slide. So my dad said, hey, can my 5-year-old son come with me? He won't make any noise, he won't cause any problems, but just let him sit next to me. Well, we're not really sure about that, but we'll give it one chance. If he makes any noise during the code, any disruptions, we're going to ask you not to bring him back. So we went. Dad took his notebook to copy CW, so I had to have mine too. So I had my notebook and my pencil. And so he would write down these letters as he was copying code. So I did too. And everybody started looking around. It's like, wait a minute, he's not just doodling. He's copying code. There's no way a 5-year-old can do this. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. And so I took the exam. You had to get 25 characters in a row. I got 23, so I didn't make it. So I tested again the next week and I got 104. So they passed around the code sheet. If you go to my QRZ page, you'll see a picture of it. They passed around my code test and had everybody in the room sign as witnesses, because they knew no one was ever going to believe that a 5-year-old got a license. In fact, when I sent in the paperwork to take my written exam, the FCC rejected it because I didn't know how to write in cursive. So I signed my name by printing. And so they rejected it. So if you notice, my call sign is just a little bit behind my dad's. That's because of that delay. I would have had a call sign right after my dad, but it was delayed because of that. And so when I would get on CW and send age 5, people would come back, age 5? Question mark? Is it 55? No, age 05. Silence. Didn't finish the contact. So I couldn't put it in my logbook, couldn't count it for worked all states, couldn't count it for DXCC because the contact wasn't finished because they were like, yeah, this is definitely something illegal. I'm not carrying on this conversation. This person's claiming to be 5 years old. And that hurt. That hurt. And I want the world to know that people under the age of 30 can be ham radio operators. And this weekend, I want people to know that people under 15 can be ham radio operators, that 8-year-olds can be ham radio operators, and 5-year-olds. There's been a few others. The record does not stand anymore, but only by a few months. But there are only a handful of us that got a license at 5. So that's why. That's my motivation for doing this. And I'm working hard to put myself out of a job because we're trying to train these folks to run the camp so that I can step aside. And so, like I said, this weekend, you're not going to hear me talk a whole lot after this. Doesn't mean that I don't want to. It's that I know it's probably better that these folks do it rather than me. And so if there's anything that I can help you with, by all means, feel free to ask. I am more than happy to help you. But they're going to be the ones primarily helping you this week, and that's why. So, that is our opening ceremony. So here in just a moment, we are going to go outside and we are going to raise the YOTA flag and fly the YOTA flag, and we are also going to take the official camp photo. So I need you to take that blue shirt that you got when you checked in from Miss Katie, and we're going to wear those for the official camp photo out front. So what we're going to do is we're going to go do the flag raising, we'll do the photos, we'll come back, and then Miss Katie is going to talk to you about contesting. So at this time, wave to the camera. Bye, everybody online. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the highlight videos. So, all right. So if you would, put the shirts on and head out the door, turn right, go out front, and we'll meet at the flagpole out here. Thank you very much.